Hello out there, whoever may be listening. I am here to offer yet another bonus alignment session. This is practice for me in preparation for my January 2026 commitment to offer these alignments every month. Each alignment will be different. But before we get into that, I should probably introduce myself. If you don't already know me, my name is Beth, and I'm here to support your commitment to heal and know yourself. My website is Divine Me Time. Happy to have you go check it out if you are so moved. And let's see, experiment-wise, I'm working with a different microphone for this alignment to see if the sound quality is better. I'm also working with more windows than usual, so again, this might be slightly clunky. Let's see. Our topic for today is practical ecstasy, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go here. First, I want to share the irony of my experiences with YouTube over many years. I've been creating videos for over 10 years here on YouTube, and I've got, I don't know, some over 100. I'm not even sure at the moment how many I actually have, and let's see, if I were to check that right now, that would be another window, but I'm curious, so I'm going to look. Oh, you know, it's on my channel. I'd have to go to my channel. Bear with me. Oh, okay. Over 400 videos. And I have about 2,000 subscribers. I don't know how active any of them are. But the irony is that after all this time and over 400 videos, I finally made my first penny from YouTube. No, but actually it wasn't from YouTube. It was from BitChute, which is another thing like YouTube. And ironically, I only have 17 subscribers on BitChute, and yet I made a penny there before I ever made a penny after 10 years on YouTube. I wanted to share this just because I think sometimes people think that making money on YouTube is so easy. And a lot of people say, you know, everybody needs a YouTube channel. I don't think that's necessarily true. But this is a really great way for me to share what I am compelled to share. And so also, I just wanted to take a moment to, because I do not actually spend any time on BitChute. All of my videos are kind of automatically uploaded from YouTube to BitChute. So I wanted to give some love to anybody on BitChute that is listening or watching. So that's one thing. I mentioned I'm using a different mic, and the last thing I wanted to mention, so this topic, practical ecstasy, this aligns very much with, I don't know if anyone is familiar here with the gene keys. I'm going to see if I can I get myself on here? Hang on. Moment of dead silence. Okay, I'll just talk to you for a minute here as my face. Okay, so the gene keys was something created by Richard Rudd, and basically the idea is that we have these certain keys or aspects that are part of our design as we come into existence in this life. And my life's work is the 46th gene key, and ecstasy is the expression of the highest expression of that gene key. And ecstasy is fairly accessible to me. And I know some people, like, that might just seem like so out there. But it's very easy for me to, and delight. Delight is also, it's like the way the gene keys work. There's a kind of a shadow quality, or yeah, we'll just call it a shadow quality for now. That is the lowest expression of that gene key, and in my case, it's seriousness. Seriousness, yes, being too serious. And I definitely have that streak. In between the gift, which is the ecstasy, is delight. And I take very easy delight in the silliest of things. So I wanted to share a little bit about what I would call practical ecstasy with you all. So maybe you can access it too, and share in some of that with me. Okay, so now I am going to do that. And it's going to catch up here in a second. There we go. So I'm on my blog, and alignments are based on the blogs that I write every month. And it's a way just to come into alignment with your true self. Some of you might be familiar with the picture that you see. That is Ananda Mai. She's a saint, an Indian saint, who from a very young age was kind of born in this state of sublime ecstasy. And it's such a beautiful picture, and you can, if you just even look at the picture and try to sense and feel her energy, like where is she? What is she feeling? Is she even there in her body, or is she somewhere else? Notice the peacefulness and the graceful sway of her body, the beauty of it. Okay. Oh, and so that you also know this reference here, the Energy Healing Cooperative, I'll just share a moment about that. So a little over 2 years ago, I started offering something on Insight Timer, which is a meditation app. They have live sessions, and on Sundays, I started something called the Energy Healing Cooperative, which was a way for healers to come together, all different kinds, and work for the greater good. This has evolved into something very different than what I thought it would be in the beginning, but it's an incredibly beautiful space, and now it's called the Love and Light Field. And it's all about stepping out of your everyday existence and into this field of love and light. And it's, a lot of people from all different corners of the world come together to hold this energy and share in it. And so during a recent Energy Healing Cooperative, that was the original name, I coined the phrase practical ecstasy when attempting to describe what it is we're doing when we, as lovers and healers, gather together with the shared intention to raise consciousness on this planet. And I hope to flesh out that concept here. First, some definitions. I see a typo. That's okay. I find definitions to be one of the biggest causes of clash and misunderstanding when communicating with others. So let's start with a couple of definitions to make sure we're all on the same page. Practical, meaning relevant to useful practice or effective action, rather than theory, speculation, or improbability. I especially love that idea of effective action because I don't want alignments to just be something I'm talking about to you or at you. I want whatever I'm sharing to have a practical application. And that includes the experience of ecstasy, which we'll get to. So my definition of ecstasy is the intense state of rapture and overwhelming bliss, which bends space and time. So the problem with ecstasy, let's talk about this. The problem with ecstasy is that one can't quite function in 3D space. For example, the Indian sage Ramana Maharshi was so euphoric that he was malnourished and being eaten by insects when he was discovered in his meditation cave. Doesn't sound too pleasant, does it? Ma Ananda Mai, whose picture you were seeing earlier, needed her disciples to handle the more practical aspects of her life. She too wouldn't remember to do the simple things required for her physical form. They needed to feed her, for example. Today, many seekers, blissed out by meditation and non-dual practice, are completely incapable of normal day-to-day living. And there's definitely no practicality in that. So natural states of ecstasy don't come easily to many. I would even venture to say that it remains inconceivable to the majority. Ecstasy, yeah, I have to take a drug for that, right? No. Perhaps that inconceivability is the only thing making ecstasy impossible to attain. It is attainable, but it isn't very practical, or at least it hasn't been. So I think we're constantly in search or seeking that sense of ecstasy that is kind of our birthright, our bliss state, but because we've lost such touch with it, that we are always looking to the drug, the food, the lover, the whatever, and none of those things can satisfy the way an internal arising of peace, of bliss, of delight can fulfill us. Or even, shall I say, make us disappear in a way. Giving us, like the Love and Light Field that I'm hosting on Sundays is that space where we can forget ourselves, where we can let all the personal stuff drop and just feel the good that is ever present underneath it all and always there, except it's always covered up by everything else. So let's talk about getting practical. Now we're ready to understand the idea of practical ecstasy, which affords us an accessible venture into the realms of heavenly delight, while at the same time grounding us into our physical forms, so as to impact this reality with that very rapture. It is in essence bringing heaven to earth. Though the phrase may be new, it is hardly an original idea. Many cultures share the practice of grounding and rising, from various shamanic traditions to yoga to qigong and probably others. The deeper we root, the higher we rise, just like the trees. Perhaps it has been the deeply embedded self-rejection of our own humanity that has caused us to avoid both the sinking down and the floating up. In other words, when we reject the self, and by that I don't mean necessarily our personal self, our small self, when we reject that we are so much greater than we've been taught, or led to believe or shown. When we are rejecting of that, then we are just the small self, and the small self is very insecure and very fearful, anxious, and who can feel anything positive in those states, right? We have to have a way of releasing ourselves from those states. By embracing the truth, and I keep hitting the mic, by embracing the truth, we can also access all of that miraculous agency that is afforded by being in contact, in touch with our divine self. And my website is Divine Me Time, and it's not about divine me time, it's about divine me time. And in other words, it's time to remember who we are. So some of the questions we must ask as we become, as we want to shift into a more practical way of being in bliss. What can I do to share feelings of elation or just open-heartedness with everyone? And maybe just take a moment. Let's enter our practice now. We're going to do this, and then we're going to also root to rise. What can I do to share a feeling of elation or open-heartedness with everyone? Well, first of all, you have to feel it. You can't share what you can't access or feel. So a practice like we're about to do, and it's called a practice because you have to do it more than once, can help you to more easily access the good feelings, the delight, the ecstasy, if you're lucky. How can I better care for myself and others while in this physical form? So in other words, you know, there are a lot of people who chase those feelings of bliss and push away everything else, and that's not necessarily very practical. We could call it spiritual bypassing. How can I better care for myself and others while in this physical form? You know, I'm not going to give you answers. These things are for you to consider. And can you care for yourself and others if you're in over blissed out states, as some of you may often frequent? In what ways can I take this matterless joy? In other words, a joy that is, here I go again with the mic. I'm going to need more practice with that. Matterless joy, a joy that is not bound in the material. And how do I manifest tangible wonder? So how do you take that and bring it back in? And that is part of the practice we're going to do in a moment. But there might also be other answers that you receive to that question. How might I allow an ecstatic state to alter my sense of sovereignty and inform my responsibility to the dream I see before me. So in other words, it's that bodhisattva, that awakened one, who turns away from that escape, that ecstasy, to return into a practicality to help others achieve that state. How might I allow an ecstatic state to alter my sense of sovereignty? Think of sitting with sovereignty. The king or queen, crowned, of your realm, your life, your dream. And if you are the king or the queen, the sovereign of your world and everything in it, then what is your responsibility to what you see and experience and live? I'll go ahead and I'll read the last paragraph now, and then we'll do our route to rise. So practical ecstasy is about actually being the bridge between heaven and earth. It is learning to chop wood and carry water as required, but through the eyes that reveal, it is chopping emptiness and carrying God, so to speak. I think I probably need to explain that a little bit. So you may have heard, like, someone becomes enlightened and then they say that nothing's changed. They still have to chop wood and carry water. Very true. But if we do that with the eyes or the awareness that we're not really chopping anything, wood being a manifestation in the realm of Maya, the grand illusion of seeming existence, and as opposed to carrying water in a bucket, you know, that bucket is God, as the water inside the bucket is God. So we are carrying God, not a bucket of water. That might be too much for some of you, but, and you know, I'm trying to reach certain people here, so if it resonates with you, let me know. So it is bringing the sacred back to life, stepping into our power as creators, as healers, as lovers, and dreaming into a new, more beautiful and enchanting reality by actually living it. Okay, so let me just go back to the picture of Anandamai Mai, and we'll just look at her beautiful face, or I'll invite you to close your eyes if you prefer. Make yourself comfortably seated. Feel your feet flat on the floor. Or if you're sitting in crossed legs, that's fine too. Just really connect to gravity. And I'm aware that in my last two sharings that I've gone pretty fast through the practices, and I want to take a little more time today. just begin to let your body soften. This isn't about collapse, it's about releasing tension. And with each breath, feel a deepening of your awareness in this moment. Letting all thoughts of the past crumble, dissolve, drop away. And all concerns of future, things that must be done, let that go as well. And you may notice the breath as it begins to lengthen and deepen. And we're going to now really connect into whatever we're sitting upon, the surface, and whatever our feet are touching, or legs. Feeling the weight of the body. Letting the weight grow heavier. Feeling that release of lower body tension. And sending your energy down through your root, through your feet, and imagining like the roots of a great tree. Those roots go deep and spread out in search of nutrients and water through all the different layers of earth. The dirt, the sand, the clay, the untouched sediment that's never seen the light of day. Deeper and deeper still. And allow the roots of your being to soak up the energy from earth. Imagine that nourishment rising up through the roots, through all those various layers of earth, back to your feet and root. And feeling that energy rising up through your body, up your spine. Noticing if there's any areas of blockage, and just coaxing and inviting the energy to shift, to move, to flow, until the energy reaches the heart and fills the heart and continues up through the head and out the crown. And up into the space above your head. Now, like the branches of the tree that you are, spreading out and reaching upward towards the sun. There is an ecstasy in that reaching. And you might not even know what are you reaching towards. Just feel the impulse to reach. To rise into the cosmos, that beautiful starry sky. And receive the energy of the universe moving in and down through your branches, that extension of self. Into the crown, through the throat and into the heart. And again, if there's blockage, just notice, be with it, breathe. As I've said, this may be a practice you have to return to again and again till you feel more, know more. Feel the mixing in the space of the heart of that earth energy coming up and that cosmic energy coming down. And allow the cosmic energy to continue down through the body. In deep through the legs and feet, root. So now you have these two streams of energy moving through you. You are the love made between heaven and earth. Just be with those two currents. Keep imagining, visualizing, sensing the current from deep within the earth up and from high above down, merging in you. if you don't feel a lot, don't be discouraged. Remember, it takes practice. And remember that, and really this is at the heart of this alignment, that we need both currents. We need to be able to be rooted to make whatever gifts we have in this life practical and apply them in service. We need that rooting. We also need that elevation, that upward movement into inspiration, into the unknown, into this majesty. To understand or stand under this umbrella of power that is given to us. As we represent heaven on earth. So if you would like to rest as you are, don't rush to come out of whatever state you may be in. Stay with it if you have the time and the space. And if you need to, you can start to gently move fingers and toes, but do so with mindfulness and a tenderness towards the experience you've had. It can be nice to rub the hands together before you open your eyes. And once you create some heat, hit the mic again. Just place your hands over your eyes gently and open your eyes into the darkness. It's a real gentle way of returning from that practice. Thank you so much for sharing in this time with me, if you're still here. If you would like more information about alignments, you can go to divinemetime.com. You can also check in the description here of the video here on YouTube or BitChute for links to a newsletter that would alert you to when I drop a new alignment. Okay, we're done today. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And don't forget to like, subscribe. If you know someone who would benefit from this practice, share the video with them.